Hi, it's Gayle Palmer here from the Living Elements Clinic, and today I am talking about your Clairgustance sense, or your sense of clear tasting. So Clairgustance is obviously that perceived intuitive information that comes to you through taste. Clear tasting, it's when you suddenly experience a flavour in your mouth as though it was real, but there's no physical source to that flavour. It arrives as a message or a memory, or even as a signal from a spirit from on high. It's not simply about having a good palate, although many chefs and wine tasters are naturally tuned into this. You would expect that. But instead, it's about receiving an impression through flavour. Sometimes guidance, sometimes a connection, but it can be very powerful. Our sense of taste is one of our primordial senses. This sense is much less common for most people. Some people only experience once or twice in a lifetime, but it's very powerful and strong when you get it. So it's always been a part of ritual, that sense of taste. In ancient Greece, offerings were made of honey, wine, bread, breaking bread, and shared with the gods. Shamans taste herbs or plant medicines to know what their properties are. Obviously, there was some problems sometimes. Some things are obviously very toxic and poisonous, but they use their sense of taste, and we still do that now in cooking. You know, when you spice food up or what have you, spices and their sense of taste, their flavour, do not continue ad nauseam without changes in the chemical composition. And so our sense of tasting some food is important to make sure that the spices are fresh, herbs are on point. Meat, for instance, well, God, we definitely need to know when meat's gone off, don't we? So in other traditions, Christian traditions to start, for example, communion is literally about tasting the bread and the wine as part of the body and soul of Christ. And they are symbols of a divine presence. From a perspective of science, though, taste is one of the most chemical and memory-rich sensations that we have. The tongue, sadly, only is actually able to discern 5 basic flavours: salt, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. But the brain layers this in associations and memories and emotions, and it particularly gets enhanced by a sense of smell as well. So that's one bite of a childhood food can unlock a whole range of forgotten memories. Clairgustance may be the intuitive extension of this, that body summoning flavours to our memory, our spirit, and our energy. When used in more of a Clair sense, mediums often report tasting tobacco, wine, or favourite foods that might be linked to that person who's passed by. Energetically, some healers taste bitterness, sweetness, or metallic taste when tuning into someone's energy, and gives them clues about their sense of balance or imbalance. Metallic tastes are particularly useful for me when I'm working with my own clients. Or symbolically, a sudden taste may symbolise what you need: sweetness or nourishment or cleansing or grounding with your sense of taste. And they can be used as a really strong anchor because it brings in your intuitive side into the body that's hardwired and really difficult to ignore. So everyday examples, you might... The tastes that you get, the flavours that you experience, tend to be the stronger ones. So peppermint you might experience, or roses, that flavour of rose when you're meditating. And they can be linked to your sense of intuition or healing or clarity. Sometimes if you're thinking of an ancestor, you get a sense of taste from them as well. Tobacco taste, wine taste, tomato taste I've had with one client. And we get a sense of sourness or metallicness. God, that's not a word, is it? Often when we associate things with something that's not pleasant, or there's a difficult decision to be made. When things are going well, we often get a sense of taste of sweetness, or of honey specifically, and that can be enhanced by a sense of smell as well. So bringing more sweetness into your life, more joy into your life. One way to practice your Clairgustance is to sit quietly and think of a favourite childhood treat. So that might be a humbug sweet, or it might be, I don't know, a particular cake, chocolate, for instance. Can you taste it? Can you experience that feeling of taste and flavour in your mouth? How vivid is it? Does it pop up strongly even when you don't have that food presence? That's that sense of Clairgustance gradually becoming awake in you. You can use your imagination too. So ask, what flavour represents my energy today? That might not give you an answer, but you might get a sense of sweetness or saltiness. Does that match your mood? So for me today, I get it's very difficult to describe this in language. That's the other thing. Clairgustance is not an easy one to describe sometimes. It's not necessarily a specific herb or flavour. So for me today, I get a fairly bland taste, but it gives me a sensation of continuance, of going forward into the future. You know, when you have an empty mouth, your mouth isn't filled with a particular flavour, and that's actually your base layer of taste throughout your life most of the day. So it's not metallic, it's not sweet, it's not salty, it's not umami. It's kind of ready for anything. It's bland. It's neutral. Neutral is a good way of describing it. Elementally, tasting and tasting. Sit quietly for a while and ask to taste one of the elements in life. So fire, water, air, earth. Are you able to discern a mineral tone to any of those, or a smoke, or a freshness, a sparkle even? Or a sweetness arising from any of those? If you can, journal it, note it down. It might be useful in the future. So Clairgustance is a rare Clair. It's a rare experience for most people, but it is deeply embodied because of where that sensation is stored in our neurological system. It's in the deep hindbrain. And it literally brings intuition onto your tongue. An intimate, unmistakable signal from the universe. In my work, I sometimes have a strong taste that appears when I'm working with a client in a session with them. Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But when I mention it to the client, often they instantly know what I'm talking about. Or they have a memory of an ancestor, or a recollection, or a symbolism that's important to them. And that's the That's the power of Clairgustance. It bypasses your intellect and speaks about flavour. It's your inner compass for taste. And it reminds us that spirit is not only seen or heard, but savoured. That flavour becomes a message, nourishment, because you get a knowing from it. It's a really interesting one to find out more about. So that's Gayle Palmer talking about Clairgustance from the Living Elements Clinic, where your health is my priority.